Welcome back to XW Halloween Blast. We got a very special episode. We're here at Statesville with the owner, Paul Siegel. Paul Siegel, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
All right, so we're going to do the history on Statesville. Now, there's a lot of information that you guys do not know about, and that's why we're doing this. So you ready for this, Paul?
I think so.
All right, so the first question is obvious. When was Statesville created?
We opened our doors in 1996, and it was preceded by 1 year by a haunted hayride. But Statesville Haunted House, Haunted Prison opened up in October of 1996.
Now, let me add on to that question. When did you guys start doing the hayride? Because you just said hayride.
Yes, we have a daytime pumpkin fest that has always had a family-friendly hayride ride, which people enjoy. And I've gone to a number of conferences, and a lot of my friends throughout the country were doing haunted hayrides. So in 1995, we actually set up a haunted hayride through a local forest. And the only problem was we can't control the weather. So we had only 1.5 nights of the 8 nights that we wanted to be open that we could run because it was storming the other nights, which is kind of fitting for a haunted house, except when you're outside and there's electricity, it doesn't go so well. So we decided that that was enough for the haunted hayride where we couldn't control the environment, and we moved it indoors.
So what made you call it Statesville Prison? You know, what made you come up with that name?
Well, I was born and raised on this farm. I'm the third generation, and we're directly across the street from Statesville Prison, which is a maximum security Illinois prison that is rather notorious for those people incarcerated there, like Speck and Gacy. And I grew up knowing that there were very evil people right across the road from us, right across the field from us. And I realized that what scarier place to visit than a maximum security prison, where once you're inside, you know, anything goes. So we decided to use the prison theme and to scare people as they were incarcerated.
That's kind of cool how you took the real life Statesville prison and then made it to a haunted house.
Yeah, my father, the second generation here on the farm, was actually robbed at knife point by an escaped prisoner from Statesville one rainy, stormy night, and 2 convicts stole his car.
Wow.
And drove it up the road about 4 miles and then crashed because the road made a 90-degree turn that they didn't know about. And so they crashed into the field and took one of my dad's nephews into custody and dragged him through the cornfield until they finally cornered him and apprehended him. And so we've got a lot of prison connections, not just living across the street, but my dad was close friends with Warden Reagan, and we actually did business with the prison. And so it just seemed like a natural thing. It's something I grew up with, I was comfortable with, but most people are not very comfortable with.
That's pretty cool. That's well, not that part, but you know, the history of the Statesville, how you decided to take that, you know, into this.
Yeah, you know, I have been inside the prison. I was there when the last roundhouse was opened. It is now closed. And you stand up inside of that roundhouse and you look up 4 stories, and you know that everybody in there is a nasty person. This isn't for shoplifting. These are murderers, rapists, serial killers, the worst of the worst that Illinois has. And so you're looking up and you got 400 or 500 evil people looking down on you. You wonder, why in the hell am I in here when I don't have to be? But we were with guards and actually with the assistant warden. And that trip was actually cut short, or that tour, because they were hearing rumors that because my son-in-law's father was a retired guard, that there was rumors that they were going to jump my brother-in-law's father. And so they quickly got us out of circulation and into the warden's office before they could do anything. So it could have been more eventful than it was, but as usual, they're keeping track of what's going on. Some of what we do here in Statesville is about how, the prisoners are taken over. And on that tour, there was rumors that was going to happen. They were going to take us hostage because they wanted to get back at somebody that had been their guard. And so it just inspired me to continue to figure out ways to bring that home to people that wanted to come visit.
Well, you did a fantastic job because, you got even people confusing it with the real prison. I mean, when I first heard Statesville, I thought this was actually the prison. So
This is true. For years and years, we had people. Sorry about that. We had people calling, wanting to know if this is that prison place. And like I say, we're within sight of the 40-foot walls that surround Statesville, and when you leave here, you feel like you've been in prison.
Oh, yeah.
If we've done our job. And so you're right. We've done a good job of convincing people that they are in an environment that's not very friendly, not very comfortable.
So how long you been in the hunt industry?
Well, when we started out the pumpkin farm in 1990, which is the daytime, which is still going on today, one of the attractions we had the first year was a little haunted barn. It wasn't anything like a haunted house. It was a kid-friendly, family-friendly haunted barn. And so we have been going to the Halloween show in Chicago, and they had training days for haunt people. And so I started going to that probably, I don't know, 93, 94, something like that. So trying to learn, ways to make moving props and so forth when we were using little electric motors to make things move. And the witch that we had in the haunted barn, her head turned on an oscillating fan. So we were getting all kinds of little tricks going to that show. Of course, as evolved to animatronics and computers and everything else. But it started out with oscillating fans and motors off of windshield wipers that made things go back and forth.
But that was pretty cool how you guys made your own animatronics before they upgrade now.
Yeah, it was pretty crude, but back then it was state of the art. So it has evolved tremendously in the last 22 years.
Yeah, that was cool how you had it back then, animatronics, and now you get these high tech. So that's pretty cool. You always had animatronics.
Well, yeah, we've had mechanized ways to move things to try to bring static things to life. So, but nothing like today.
No. So, what made you turn your farm into and put a haunted house on it?
Well, I'm an October birthday. Fall as a farmer is always our favorite time of the year. That's when we're harvesting our crops and the money starts to come in. And but I've always liked Halloween because of when I was born. I was born October 30th, and so I've always been intrigued with Halloween in the fall. And after going to a number of conferences, I realized that there are sick people out there that want to be scared. And so we figured we would try to fill that bill. And started out with a little haunted barn, went to the haunted hayride, and then moved it into what has evolved into Statesville.
So what made you? I know you said haunted barn. What happened to the haunted barn? What made?
Well, we still have a haunted barn today. That's lights on, no actors, very creative, but it is not. It's not anything like the nighttime that we have for Statesville or Sea of the Dead, so we continue to do that so that the daytime families have an entertaining, semi-dark and part of the show.
That's pretty cool that you still have the haunted barn still going to this day. Unfortunately, the hayride. Do you still have the hayride going? Or
we have a hayride, but nothing at night, and it's not haunted. Our hayride takes you through the cornfield to the pumpkin patch where you can pick a pumpkin. So it's just an enjoyable, kind of bouncy ride through the fields and see where the pumpkins really grow. You pick the pumpkins right off the vine, and so a lot of the things we've been doing since 1990, we're still doing today.
That's so cool that you still have that stuff around. You still have the haunted barns around. You still have, the hayride going on. Even though it's not like it used to be, it's still around those.
Yeah, I'm a farmer at heart. Growing corn and soybeans and pumpkins, and which is a year-long endeavor. And a lot of things about the haunted house are year-long as well. Obviously, lots of planning goes into it and build goes into it. But I'm still a farmer at heart. I'm a third-generation farmer, and I hope that I can continue to farm the rest of my days.
Now, what made you bring John the Flamboyant onto your team? Because, you know,
Well, we had the haunted house for a couple of years, and I had the misfortune of having a heart attack and a quad bypass, and I was in need of a carpenter to help build the show, and I actually interviewed John for something different, and when I found out what his history was in school, as a theater major, and had a haunted house in a mall when he was in college, I hired him to help us build the first couple of years, and it became obvious that he was interested and I was interested, and we've been working this is the 20th year that we've been working together.
oh wow.
And so we're glad to have John. John has expanded from a one-man show to his theater company with Zombie Army, and they have their own haunted house. They consult with other people for haunted houses out of this area, and then they're the producers of Statesville that you see today.
Yeah, that's amazing how, how much has grown over the years with you two together, so that's...
Yeah, a lot of credit goes to John's creativity. He's been building the show now for 18 years, 20 years, and actually the second haunted house was City of the Dead, was kind of John's idea. It started out as a haunted house that he wanted to do a second haunted house to marry up with Statesville, and so we built another building, and City of the Dead was born. And since then, I've taken it over, and they're both my show, but John is still managing the shows and the operation.
That's pretty cool. Now, do you ever plan to pass it down to your kids, like your daughter Katie? Do you plan to pass it down to her?
Well, she's already very active in the business. She does most of the social media aspect of it, and a lot of the payroll, and she's already very involved. And I would guess yes that if I can ever afford to retire, that I will pass it on to her. And she has interest in it, as well as the pumpkin farm. And this year we built a new, actually opened last year, an Amish-built timber barn for weddings. Wow. So we're going to be doing weddings during the summer, and Pumpkin Fest, and a haunted house. So we'll be busy for a generation to come.
Well, you're always expanding. I mean, you have the Statesville, you have the Hayride, you have the barn, and then you have your own, your own farm too, which you sell, food and stuff.
Yeah, we have produce during the summer. We grow our pumpkins and sweet corn. We have a garden center in the spring. So, like, we've been on this farm. My grandfather bought this farm almost 110 years ago.
Wow.
He came here in 1909, and my family's been growing food continuously for almost 110 years. And I fully expect that Katie and her brothers will continue that. She's the youngest of four. She has three brothers. She's by far the most involved. But I think the brothers are interested in lending a hand during the fall as well.
Now, do you ever dress up and act aside the haunt, or
I've never dressed up. I'm a pretty good sized guy, and I can remember when we turned the haunted barn into a second haunted house at night. I don't know, 15 years ago, and all I had to do was walk up behind somebody when they were stopped and breathe on them, and they'd turn around and look up, and they would be scared. So I wouldn't have to say a thing. I could just stand there, and they'd realize that I was a real person. It was dark enough that I'm ugly enough that I didn't need a costume. And so I've never actually dressed up, never put makeup on or a mask on. But yeah, I like going through and just popping in and where there's not supposed to be anybody, and then disappear. And so it's fun. Unfortunately, the management gets to take so much time that I don't get to do the things that are fun. I have to do the things that are rather benign, but need to be done.
Yeah, I know how that feels. You're so busy, you can't even have fun sometimes.
You're right.
So, what's your favorite room in the haunt between this one or City of Dead?
I've always liked our opening scene with the electrocution. We don't do electrocutions in Illinois anymore. However, when the electrocutions were being done, they were done at Statesville. And so that was a natural evolution for us, was to have the electrocution scene in our opening scene. And that kind of sets the tone for what kind of tells them why we're doing what we're doing. But then the next room would have to be the clown room. So many people are just scared to death of clowns. Even if they're friendly clowns, there's something about them that I guess you don't trust them. Now, of course, John Wayne Gacy worked a side job as a clown, and he was a very scary character. We just didn't know it at the time. And so I would say the clown room, which we totally rebuilt this year.
Yeah.
So you'll see a totally new clown room this year from what you've ever seen before.
Now, that electrocution room, like I walked there, a couple of times, and that electrocution room is really amazing. It does, get you excited to go through. You're like, wow, this is the beginning.
Yeah, this is the beginning. We're trying to set the tone. Although there's lots of entertainment in the wait line and in the box, the whole time, from the time you buy your ticket, you're being entertained. That's our intent. And but when you get into that electrocution room, that opening scene, we're hitting you with sight and sound and smell and feel, and we're trying to kind of bombard you and overload you. And when you get overloaded, you don't feel quite as comfortable, and that makes our job easier.
Yeah. So, do you plan making more haunts, or is Statesville going to be the only one you have?
No, I think Statesville and City of the Dead are enough for us. Again, we are working closely with John and Zombie Army. They've done another haunt. I don't think that we need. We thought about adding a third one here. It'd be interesting to have a hayride, so we have a third attraction. But we had Zombie Paintball, which was a paintball ride where you rode around on an army truck through the woods and shot at zombies and targets. However, we lost our lease on that property, on the woods. They've torn all the trees down, and so there is no more paintball. So that was the third attraction we had. It wasn't a haunted house, but it was zombie themed, which seems to be all the rage right now. But we were forced to switch gears and stop doing that. So I don't know that we'll try to replace that. I think we're going to be content with just continuing to grow Statesville and City of the Dead.
Now, when you started, Statesville, did you ever think you'll become this huge? Because when you talk about Haunted House Chicago, Statesville is one of the ones that pop up.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that. No, I didn't. I wasn't even sure it was going to work. Like I say, I've been in it for 22, 23, 24 years, and which is not exactly the beginning, but close to the beginning. And we're the only, as far as I know, the only one left in Illinois that's been operating for that long. We've been operating continuously. And but there was no guarantees when you're in business for yourself as to whether it's going to be accepted by the public and whether you're going to do a good enough job to keep them coming back. So I would be being incorrect to say that I knew for sure that it was going to be as successful as it was. We started out with about 3,000 square feet and repurposed a building, and just nothing but grow since then. And we don't have the biggest square foot building. We don't brag about having the biggest footprint, but we like to think that we decorate and scare by the square inch instead of by the square foot.
Yep.
And John does a terrific job of keeping people moving and giving them a sense that they're not safe.
Right. Like I said, there's so many haunted houses in Chicagoland. There's a lot. And then like I said, Statesville was one of the top ones that people talk about, Statesville and a couple of other ones. And,
Yeah, and part of that is, we've been in the same location. We don't move. We don't tear it down and put it back up. We were one of the only people that did that until, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, when some other people were renting warehouses for 5 or 10 years where they weren't tearing their haunts down. So once we started building our haunt, it's never been torn down and moved. It's always been in the same location. We've expanded it, and we change scenes, we upgrade things, but we have not moved from this location. So that's part of what I think allows us to be as effective as we are, is we can continue to build every year on last year and not have to start over. I mean, we're not resting on our laurels. We're not saying, well, we were good last year, so we don't have to do anything this year. Every year we spend a lot of money to improve the show and change the show, but we do have the benefit of operating in the same location. So some of that work is a little bit easier.
Okay, so what is your favorite hunt memory? Like, I know you gotta have a favorite one that it just sticks out. It's like, oh man, I remembered that.
Well, it's probably kind of peculiar, but I remember a guy that went into the opening scene, came back out, he had shit his pants. And so he came outside, he stood outside the door while his girlfriend went through with the rest of the party to the rest of the house, and he stood out there with shit in his pants. And so that, and all the women that come out on the cooler nights, when they come out of the haunt and they get cool and they realize, oh, I peed my pants. And there's a lot of them that say, oh, yes, I peed my pants. So we've done our job. And surprisingly, they think that it's, you know, a rite of passage when they pee their pants at Statesville. Means we've done their job, and they've bought into the whole theme. And so I would say crapping your pants and peeing your pants are probably some of the sure tell signs that we've done our job.
So last year was our first year we went public. Now I see you wearing a shirt that you guys won the year before and last year. How did you feel when we said you're the best?
Well, we were gratified. We were appreciative of your kind thoughts and your judgments. I don't disagree with you. We're pretty good. But you know, we never pretend to think that, you know, we're better than everybody else, and we're always going to be. So it's always nice when, particularly when a new guy in town comes in that really hasn't, you know, grown up on Statesville. He comes in and still feels like we're doing our job. So we're gratified that you agree with a number of other people that we have a good show. We appreciate the work that you do in building interest in the industry that we're in. We're in it together. And without people like you that are telling people about the better shows, we wouldn't be as successful here. I know you do a lot of social media and a lot of promotion, and that's very, very important. You know, when I first started this, social media didn't exist.
Yeah.
Al Gore hadn't invented it yet. Ha ha ha. But you know, we were using newspaper and a little bit of radio, and you know, social media was not even thought of yet. So now social media is the way that the last couple generations have learned about things that are fun and cool and that they're interested in, and that's where you come in, because you work very effectively in social media to get the word out about the better shows, the best shows, and that helps us. Having good shows to talk about helps you, and so we're kind of almost in business together, because we're in the same business and we can promote each other. So we appreciate your coming into the industry and your kind thoughts, and we always want you to be honest. We don't want you to just say you're our friends and say that we're good. We want you to genuinely feel that we've got an exemplary show, and that we're doing our job year after year. So we always want an honest opinion. We don't want false accolades. We work towards doing the best we can, and when someone like yourself that is respected comes to the same conclusion, we're gratified.
Well, thank you for building this great, you know, haunted house, because this is an amazing haunt. You know, it's different from the other ones in Chicago, you know, and that's what makes haunts so special, is that every show you go to is different. You know, Basement Dead got theirs, Statesville got theirs.
We're flattered.
So if people want to come by, where can they go find this place?
Well, we're at 17250 Weber Road, Lockport. We are available online at statesvillehaunted.com or statesville.org. And there's directions. You can buy tickets. We've got specials going on for opening weekend. You know, half-price VIP tickets, which is a great value. And we have a little kind of a special show for VIP customers. So you don't wait as long, but there's also some other special things. So you go to statesvillehaunted you can buy tickets all year long. And right now, there are until opening night, which is October 4th, Thursday night, you can buy those opening weekend specials.
And we're going to put the link right here. Here's the little picture right there. I hope it popped up, if my editing person does it right. But it was really nice talking to you. You know,
Well,
learned so much about Statesville, and this is amazing talking to you, Paul. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
I appreciate it. We had the good fortune of meeting last year, and I do appreciate the work that you do and the crew you put together to make it work so well. Just like myself, I mean, there's lots of people behind the scenes. Zombie Army has a huge crew, not just for the build, but of course for the actors. And it's no one person. I opened it, I started it, I own it, but I certainly could not do it by myself. John and I couldn't have done it by ourselves. You know, we put together a hell of a team that is why we're successful. And we're also not afraid to give credit where credit is due. We've got a lot of people that have, some people are still here, some people have come and gone, but it takes a lot of people to do the great job that we do. And it's not just John and not just me, not just my family, but it's a very dedicated crew that likes scaring people. And not just scaring people, but entertaining people, because you know, it's not just about startling them. Okay, we make people pee their pants or crap their pants or whatever by scaring them. But we also have a lot of people that come out that, you know, that don't do that. They come out and say, wow, that was cool. They appreciate the artwork that we did inside, the creativity, and the show. There's more to it than just startling somebody and making somebody step back. Yeah, that's part of it. And it's more than just having a dark room where you bump into walls. But it's the whole thing where you hear it and you smell it and you feel it that makes the entertainment value so good. So we're really looking to give you a good entertainment value for your dollar, and not say, well, if you didn't get scared 10 times, you know, you didn't get your money. Because it's not just about the scare. There's so much more to it that makes the show what it is.
Right, and you guys did such an amazing job at doing it too.
Thank you.
So, anyways, we gotta wrap it up. You know, I would love to talk to you more, but we gotta wrap things up. So,
well, we welcome everybody to come out starting October 4th. We're open Thursday through Sundays through the whole month of October, and we look forward to people coming out and seeing what we've done with the clown room. It's pretty phenomenal. So come and see us.
All right, this is XW Halloween Blast with my special guest, Paul Siegel from Statesville. Come check out Statesville. The link is below. We see y'all next time.